Hello, welcome to the second Saturday workshop on field lighting. Let's get everything ready here. Oh, well, we're going to need some light, aren't we? Ha-ha! There we go. All right, so this is an example of a three-point lighting setup. And if you want to look at my PowerPoint over here, this is kind of mapping it out. What we have is we have three lights. We have one 45 degrees from where the camera is. We have another one that's diffused, and it's 45 degrees from the other side. And then we have another light above my head, okay? So this is an example of the basics of lighting, three-point lighting, and it is the one that gives you flat lighting that you would use like in a comedy or in a talk show or something like that. Something where you don't need a lot of dramatic lighting, a lot of shadows and stuff. This is just plain lighting, okay? And so what we're going to do now is, does anybody have any questions on three-point lighting and what it is and how to accomplish it? So basically, you know, three lights, two of them 45 degrees, one of them's a little brighter, and then a backlight shining down on the heads and the shoulders. So what I want to talk about next is lighting temperature, because you're going to need to make sure that your light colors match, okay? So let's turn this off and let's go back to our house lights here. This is an example of 3200K. This is lighting for indoor lighting for television. The television studio has this color of light, okay? When you're outside, the color is different. As you can see from the PowerPoint, sunlight is at 5,000 to 6,500 Kelvin, whereas indoor light is 3,000 to 4,000 Kelvin. 4,000 is more like fluorescents, not these fluorescents, because these are special fluorescents. They can dial in bicolor temperature. This is what outdoor light looks like. It's a little bit bluer, right? And it doesn't look good on camera because our cameras are white balanced for 3200K. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have my assistant Alejandro turn on our studio lights, and I'm going to go over the equipment that we have here at TCMedia for you to check out. Okay? So here's some of the gear that we have. So we got a couple of different kits. We have the GVM 800D RGB, and that is in a case that looks like this. GVM, it stands for Great Video Maker. That's the brand. We have another light kit, which is the Spectro LED 240 bicolor LED lights, and that comes in a kit that looks like this. You see it's in LED 3. It also has a case for the light stands like this. Then, so let's go over these lights before I go over some of our other gear, okay? So let's open the GVM 800D. So it comes in a case like this. You have three lights in here. On the top opening of this case, you've got two lights like this. They're in Duvetine bags. And on the other side, it opens up with another zipper where you have the light stands. You know, you got three light stands. You've got another light in here. There it is right there. And then you've got the power cables to plug the light in, okay? So let's look at these lights. Okay, so when you take it out of the Duvetine bag, you've got barn doors here that open up. Okay, and there's the lighting source. On the back, you have some buttons here. You've got two knobs, you've got a power button, and you've got three buttons here. You can use batteries on these lights, which is really helpful. So I can put it needs two batteries. These are the same batteries that you use for the Sony AX2000s. And so once I've got two batteries in, I can turn it on, and I turn this switch to the left where it has like, it says it up here, it says battery, and the other one says adapter. So if you've got it plugged in with the power adapter, you flip it to the right. If you've got batteries on, you flip it to the left. And it turns on, and you can see it's got light, right? Woo, right? Okay, now the knob on the left will control your brightness. Right now it's at 96. I can turn it up to 100, or I can turn it down, And then if I turn it down to somewhere like 29, it's not going to blind you. So, well, it's still pretty bright for the camera, isn't it? You can go all the way to, you know, like 8, and it's not very bright. You can go to 1. What does 1 look like? There's 1. But the other thing about this, if you can see here, it says 3200K. So I can change the lighting color here. If I turn this way down so I can point it at you, and then I can switch this to, there's the 5600. Did it get bluer? Yeah? Okay, and then there's the more reddish light, the more indoor light. So if you're using these outdoors, honestly, I want to preface this with, these lights are really not powerful enough to like compete with the sun. The sun is going to be so bright that you can turn this light on, you can turn it to your 5600 Kelvin, you can turn it all the way up to 100%. It's not going to show up. It's not going to make a dent. So I suggest if you're out there in the light or in the sunlight to use reflectors to do that kind of stuff. We don't have those kind of really, really powerful outdoor lights. But hey, try it anyway, you know, if you really must. But really, this is going to be better for indoor. So the other things that this light does is it can be, it can control other lights. You can also use it with an app. Well, let me go over the color though. First, we went through the bicolor mode. That's the 3200 Kelvin and the 5600 Kelvin. And everything in between is kind of like, you can see these LEDs. There's like 2 different rows of them. So you've got 2 different colors here. You got the blue lights and the red light, or the reddish, the bluish, the reddish. So as you're turning this dial, now I'm only using the red ones, and now I'm only using the blue ones. The camera's not showing this very well. But the other thing this light can do is let's go back to 3200. So if I push this knob here, this knob doesn't do anything if I push it. But this other knob, if I push this in like a button, it switches to the color mode. And now look what we have. And we can change the color of that. Right now I'm in hue mode, so I can change the color just by turning this dial. And we can go all the different colors of the rainbow. There's purple, you know, keep going until we're back to orange, green's coming up. There you go. If I hit the button again, we get into saturation. So this is the amount of color. So it's up all the way at 100. If I can turn that down, we get kind of a more like grayish green, right? So that's the saturation. Everybody knows what saturation means? It's the amount of color. Okay, hit it again, and we're back to the bicolor mode, where it's 3200 versus 56. So once goes to hue, another goes to saturation, and another one goes back to normal. The other thing is you have different modes on these lights. You've got, right now we are in slave mode. I just hit it to slave mode. Now this is the master mode. Master, slave, and app, okay? And then one's called rotate. Honestly, I don't know what rotate means. But slave would be the mode that you would put this light in if you want your lights to all kind of come on together. Master is the one you would switch it to if you want that light to control other lights. And then app is the light you would turn on to make this kind of stuff happen. So I've got the app loaded on my phone. It can be downloaded for Apple phones, iPhones, or for Android phones. So this is what one of the screens of the app looks like. So I can turn the lights on. So we got all those lights turned on at once. You can also do this. You can also set up some automatic things like lightning and candle and bad bulb and disco. There's our disco mode. So what this is doing right now is this app is controlling one of the lights. It's controlling this light right here because I've got this light in app mode. Those other 2 lights are in slave mode. So they're doing whatever this one is doing. So I'm just controlling this one and those follow, okay? So that's how that works. There's another mode called paparazzi. Whenever you're using an app for these lights, it's important to exit out and to go up into the app and are you sure you want to disconnect? Yes. Okay, it's important to disconnect the light from your app before you move on, before you pack up the light and bring it back to us, because otherwise something could happen where the next person that uses the light can't use it because it's like stuck in the app. So that's one thing to, if you are going to download the app and do that kind of thing, it connects over Bluetooth, so you have to have your Bluetooth on. And when you do, it says, see if we can see this in the camera, it says BT LED, and it said manage, and you can click manage to connect it, and then you're starting to control the app. Did you have a question, Ralph?
What is the app called?
The app, it says GVM2 on it. GVM, just like the names of the lights. Yeah, and it looks like that. You can see the icon right there. So there it has a little one. And then for some reason on my phone, it won't exit unless I do a force stop on it. Okay. All right, so now that I've disconnected that app, I should be able to control these lights by hitting this button. Oh, it's in map mode. I got to turn it to master. There we go. There we go. Okay, so we're back to normal. So if I turn, oh, there we go. Yeah, we're changing the bicolor, and then now we're doing the intensity. So I can turn the intensity down. You can see they're all following it. So it could be helpful if you're doing some kind of dancey shoot, or we've used it for music videos. That's a lot of fun. So that's the GVM 800D RGB lights. They're a lot of fun. 3 lights in the kit. You have to take our, what is our course called? Cinematography Basics, I believe, is what our course is called. And you take, DSLR? Yeah, is it called Cinematography DSLR? I think so, yeah. Cinematography DSLR. So in that course, you learn our Lumix GH5 cameras, and they've got a bunch of lenses for them. You get certified to use those cameras and the light and the lenses. You get certified to use those GVM light kits, and a bunch of other stuff. Great stuff. So it's a good class. Hey, if you're not doing anything on Monday and the next like 4 Mondays, please sign up, because we've got one starting on Monday, and it goes for 4 weeks on Monday nights from like 6 to 9. And there's like 2 slots open. So if anybody's interested, please sign up. Any questions on GVM 800D RGB lights?
So the barn doors that you referred to, do those also, can those be used to kind of like diffuse or control the area that the light goes?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you're going to use these to kind of shape your light, you know. You can close it down. You can keep it coming from other, getting on other sources. And, I don't really see the need. I mean, you can see in my lighting setup, I do have a diffuser in front of one of those lamps, but it's nice that you can control the intensity on the lamp either also. So it's like not as important to have diffusion and gel. Obviously you don't need gels for this light because you can change it to whatever color you want. So that's great. Anybody else? Okay, we're going to go over the bicolor lights, which are the Spectro LED 240 bicolor LEDs. So that one is in a kit like this. And I've already got one of these lights set up, okay? But let's show you, and I didn't go over light stands, but the GVMs have pretty much the same kind of stands. With light stands, what I like to do is, first of all, you've got to open the bottom one so you can spread the legs, right? And then you tighten that up. It's a good idea to use like a sandbag or something on it, a little weight. You can put it right here to keep it from falling. And I like to open these up from the bottom up, so not just the top one, because the top one's the thinnest, So I don't know if it really makes much of a difference, but I start at the bottom and I start telescoping this up, right? And so there's I guess that's all. And now we go up some more, okay? So this is a regular light stand. We can put the lamp on the top of this, like so. And then we just tighten this knob down. And we got the lamp. Is it upside down? I believe it's upside down. So we'll loosen this up on the sides here, both of them. And then we can rotate it around. There we go. Okay. It also has a port on the bottom for putting it on like a tripod. It's got that, I think this one does 2. No, it doesn't. It just has the regular. So this light could be put on, a tripod or something with that screw. It also is battery powered, or you can use power, The great thing about LED lights back in, I don't know, it wasn't the old days, it was really just like 10 years ago, we had like all incandescent bulbs. So they used a lot of electricity and they produced a lot of power. All these studio lights are incandescent. They're not LEDs. But the LEDs allow you to use batteries because they don't use so much power. So it's great. You know, and these batteries, you know, I don't think that they die immediately. They last quite a while. You can get some smaller batteries that'll die pretty quickly. But we have a bunch of batteries for them, so you're going to want to check those out. Now with this lamp, this light kit, you need to take our field production class where you learn our AX2000 camcorders, you learn our audio gear, you learn these light kits. And so that's a different class from the basic cinematography. Okay. So yeah, we got some power adapters here. They have 2 different cords. You know, you've got to plug this cord into the base here. And one thing that's kind of a drawback of light kits these days is when you plug this in, the box, you know, the little power box, it never reaches all the way to the floor. So you got this thing hanging and you got to do something with it, right? So you can see that, and then we got to like take it and sometimes you can use this little Velcro thing and you can like wrap it around and tie it up, right? Something like that. Because I don't know why they can't just make these cables long enough to where that block goes all the way to the floor, but they don't. So I've seen videos where everybody's got these light kits and that's kind of always the problem. So you'll have to make sure you hang it somewhere or just use the batteries, right? So if I put some batteries on here, where'd my batteries go? So this uses 2 batteries as well. No, it uses 1. Never mind. It just uses 1 battery. That's why they're always dying. These last longer because they got 2 batteries in them. So 1 battery, we will just turn it on. Is this battery dead? Is it on? Maybe it's not doing it because I've got, yeah, that's what it wants. It doesn't want to be plugged in when you got a battery in it. So now let's turn down the intensity so I don't blind y'all. Same deal with the other ones. We've got some blue light now, and I turn it more to a reddish light. Let's turn it a little bit down. You can't see it on the camera, but in real life you can see that this is, let's brighten it up some. That's blue, right? And then there's our reddish color. So that's where the term bicolor comes from, okay? You've got the reddish ones, and then you've got the row of bluish ones. And you can do somewhere in the middle just by kind of turning both of them on, okay? You can see that. So that's the bicolorness. And of course, let me show you what I'm doing back here. There's 2 knobs. The top one is your intensity, and the bottom one is your color temperature, okay? There we go. And I don't know, it's got a bunch of ports for controlling with wires and stuff. I don't think it has an app to control it. It's an older light kit, you know. So, but we have 3 of these light kits. So each light kit has 2 lights in it and 2 stands. All right. Now let's go ahead and turn that off for now. I'm just going to put this over here. Any questions on this light kit? Oh, one more thing about them. They do have a little diffusion plate, okay? And that just kind of fits on the light through some little ports like that, and you bend it a little bit, and then you got a little bit of diffusion on your light. So there's 2 of those in each kit with the lights and the power adapters. And then you got to make sure you want to grab this bag of stands too, because it's in a separate container, okay? And we'll help you remember that. Well, you need some stands. Okay, any questions on those light kits?
Do you give sandbags when we get the lights, or do we have to remember to ask for them? Or do you have them?
Now we have sandbags, but they're not in the equipment room. They're here in the studio. And we need them for so many things in the studio that, yeah, I guess it's really kind of bring your own sandbag. You know, in a pinch, you can put a purse on it or some other kind of thing to weigh it down, right? I don't know, it's something that we should look into, is getting some sandbags for checkout, but good question.
They're pretty cheap. That you can buy them for like $25. Get them in a 4-pack and then just get some from Home Depot.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so they just come in.
It's really cheap. Yeah.
Thank you.
So let's see what else we've got. We're going to talk about some other gear here. we're going to talk about C-stands. Let me turn this light off. I'll just, oh, they don't go off that way. I'll just turn them down. C-stands, they come in a container like this. Okay, now it's pretty heavy because it's got 3 of them in there. Oh, that's the wrong pocket. I think it's already open. Okay. Oh, we've got them all disassembled and taken out, so I can't show you. Let me start disassembling one. So you got these arms that are in the case. They'll be in one of these slots here. You've got the neck. Let's loosen this up. Okay. So this is the main part, the spine. And then you've got the legs. They look like this. Okay. So usually the legs are in here, you know, strapped in like that, okay? So you take one of the legs out and it's folded up like this. Oh, and then there's some lettering that says pull up. Here, the camera doesn't see this. What camera are you guys on? pull up like that, and then you can open the legs like this. And you want to open them all the way, and it locks in, okay? Then you put the neck in. So it goes down in here, and then you tighten it down, and then you've got the boom arm for the C-stand. And that goes up in here. You can see you got a bunch of different kind of holes and stuff, and sometimes different objects will slide into the different parts and stuff. So this one will go in like this. There we go. Tighten it down. Before you tighten it down, you want to get it to where you need it, right? Maybe you need it up high like that, and then you can tighten it and it won't move. It's a good idea to keep the weight of this thing over the big leg, so I might want to rotate it like this. Also to use sandbags. So why would you use a C-stand instead of a regular light stand, right? Mainly, it's so you can get, well, let's talk about the backlight. What if I wanted to backlight myself over there and I wanted to use this light? You know? Is this going to work? You know, shine this down on me. Why is that not going to work? Because you got the pole in your shot, right? So you got the C-stand with the boom so that you don't see the pole. And we got the backlight going on a boom like this. So that's one of the things, the great things about C-stands. They're also good for mounting lots of different stuff, right? And you can see a bunch of examples all around the room here. For instance, a backdrop. This is a fold out, a pop out background that we've got clipped up here. So, you know, you can see how this is just clipping on like that. There's the C-stand with the boom pole. You know, and this is kind of a pop out thing. You can reserve this as well. If you need a green screen, this is helpful. Get some clips and just clip it onto the C-stand like that. And you can put this behind your subject. So there's one thing. Can you think of some other things you might use a C-stand for instead of a microphone, or a light stand? You can use them for lights. You can use them for backdrops. You can use them for flags and things like that. You know what a flag is? You do. He's pointing at it. Okay. C-stands, let's go to flag kits. Any questions about C-stands at this point? Maybe at the end we'll let you kind of examine all these parts, right? Okay, so with the C-stands, we've got flag kits, and they look like this. Where is my flag kit? Here it is right here. It's not as heavy as a C-stand box, but when you open it up, you've got all kinds of things in here. You've got mounts down here, and they fold out like this. They lock in and they hold something. I'll show you what this is used for here. This is used for flags, okay? Flags are over here. Let me show you what they look like. Here's a couple of different flags, and these are all from that flag kit. It's got 3 of these, like, what do you call this? The metal holder. Thank you, a frame. That's what I'm looking for. A frame. You got a frame for a duvetine. This is what this fabric is. It's just black. It's used for blocking light. Then you've got another one that's diffusion, a frame with diffusion on it. So all of this stuff is in this kit. You've got all kinds of other things in this flag kit. You've got these little screens. You know, you got smaller things. Maybe you just need to block a little line of light. Maybe you want to cover somebody's eyes with, cover the light coming from somebody's eyes. You've got some netting, which just reduces the amount of light that's coming, from your light to your source. Lots of different stuff. So why would you use a flag? Or you can see we've got diffusion up here, but let's talk about one thing you might use a flag for. Let's go with this flag to block off some light, okay? Let's say, we'll turn my lights back on here. Let's say this is our lighting setup, and we want a shot of somebody sitting here in the chair. You could get a close-up here. You might have a boom pole in the way. But let's say there's a big TCTV logo behind my head, and we can't do anything about it because maybe it's something out in the environment that we don't want. We don't want that TCTV logo that's on the screen. So we can take our flag and we can take our C-stand and we get that over here and we block it out. We block that light out. Get this raised up some. There we go. There's an example of how you would use a flag. Now we don't have it, at least, you can see it there, but you probably don't see it in the close-up. Do we have a close-up now? There we go. See, we got rid of the TCTV logo. There we go, we used a flag. Score. Okay, so that is our flag kits. Any questions? Pretty cool, fun stuff. Good. Reflectors, let's go over those. We have reflectors. They're in these bags like this. Open them up. Now these are something you could use outdoors, to bounce light from the sun. Whoa! You got a gold side and you've got a white side. So this is going to bounce light. So we use this to bounce light from the sun or from another light source. Bounce it on somebody's face. You can angle it. You have somebody holding it. You can mount it on a C-stand like that one. Inside this is actually a cover. So when you zip this open, can't probably get it out now. Now inside is just a diffusion. That's what this looks like right here. So this is the inside of these reflectors. And it's just, it's a little bit translucent. You can see through it, right? You see me, maybe? Maybe not. You can see a little bit. So it's used to diffuse the light a little bit, okay? So I'm just going to zip this back up, though. So we have like 4 of these, and you can check these out regardless of any of your certifications. If you're certified for field production, or if you're certified for basic cinematography, you can use these. And they kind of fold up like, one of those pop-up things for your car that you put on the, on your windshield and put it back in the bag. I might keep this out because I might show you some stuff with it later, okay? All right, there's our field lighting gear. Any questions? Are we missing something? That's a good question. Is there some field lighting gear that we don't have that we need to purchase? Anybody think of anything? How about this? Got gaffer tape. You might want to take this with you. This is important for, taping things up, onto C-stands or whatnot. A lot of times we'll just use it to tape cables on the floor. And it's great tape because it doesn't leave any residue like a duct tape would. So, and it's clean and it holds really good. It's expensive though, so don't just use a whole bunch of it, okay?
Can you like get it at the hardware store, or where do you have to get
You'd
it?
have to buy that online.
Online.
Yeah, it's specialty. Okay, so let's go to our next slide here. We're going to talk about some terminology. Let's talk about lamp right and lamp left, okay? So you guys know the terms like stage right, stage left. So, with a light left, the terminology light left means you're going to move this light to its left. That's light left. Move it to the right, that's lamp right. Some other terminology, broad side versus short side. Okay, let me get, what shot are you guys on? If you take me on camera, camera 1, if you got me on like a close-up here, this would be my broad side and this would be my short side because there's less of my face and this is the broad side. So if you're talking about light more, increase the broad side, then that would be this side of the face, the side of the face that the camera can see more of. Rim light, that's the same as a backlight, but it's kind of like, it's a light that comes from behind or from underneath, just anything from behind the subject. And you can light somebody, the side of their face with it or their shoulder, something like that. Key light versus fill light. The key light is the stronger one that creates more shadows. The fill light fills in those shadows, okay? High key versus low key, okay? High key is going to make more shadows. You're going to have a stronger key light. You're going to create more shadows. Low key, you're going to have less of those shadows. And then catch light. Catch light is the light that you see in somebody's eye. The little sparkle that you see. And you'll see somebody using those ring lights, and you'll see that ring of light in their eyes. That's the catch light. It creates that ring in their eyes, like just right in their irises. So that's the terminology. You try to get a little bit of catch light, and that's, more artistic, right? So now let's go back to some scenarios here. I used the term flat lighting already. Do you remember when I used that term? What did I say about flat lighting?
At the beginning, 3-point.
Yes. 3-point lighting. Lighting that doesn't look like you did anything. That's the hardest to accomplish is flat lighting. But it's going to be the stuff that you're going to use for like news or a comedy or anything that you don't want to have shadows and stuff like that. So that's flat lighting. And that's the 3-point lighting setup. I'm going to get a model to come up here. Alejandro, would you mind coming up to the chair over here? We're going to put some lighting on you. I'm going to kill our key light over here so we can see things. Okay, let's go over some of these lighting scenarios. I'm going to turn off let's turn off this light just for now. We're also going to turn off this light for now. Okay, we're going to go over this first lighting design, which is called, flat lighting we went over. This is called paramount lighting. And with this scenario, we probably want to use the boom with the boom pole because in this scenario, actually, can I get any higher with this? Yeah, I can. Good. Okay. All right. So we're gonna just imagine that we're on a boom right now, because right now I've got the light pole in the shot. So what a paramount lighting does, can you get that on camera 1? The thing is right in the shot, darn it. The pole. So I kind of got to use the boom. Well, let me just show you that, how the light goes onto the boom. So what we're trying to accomplish here is called paramount lighting. And what paramount lighting is when you have kind of like a butterfly of light under the nose. And if you can see that on camera too. Oh, I need to change the input so you guys can see this. Here you go. Here's Alejandro's face. And you got kind of like a little butterfly of light under the nose. The nose casts kind of a tiny little shadow. And then what you can do is you can bounce a little bit of that light up under the face to get some of those shadows under the neck a little better. And we could maybe turn up the intensity. Nope, we're going blue. Okay. And then we can bounce it a little bit underneath the light to get some of those neck shadows gone. There you go. And so what this light was pioneered back in the days, like in the 20s, Paramount Picture liked to light their women like this, and some of them had it in their contract that they could only be lit with Paramount lighting. Let's talk about Rembrandt lighting. That's a real popular one. Now, if you can see that loop on Alejandro's face, his nose is making a loop. That's called loop lighting. I think I had that as one of, loop lighting is a loop at the nose. Now, if we move it some more toward the, let's see, if we move it toward the pop-up camera one, I got to see what I'm doing over there. Yeah, okay. Lower it a little bit. Okay, like this. This is Rembrandt lighting. Rembrandt lighting is you'll have a little triangle of light on his cheek. You can see that little triangle of light. And then you can also take that and you can bounce some of the light and make it a little bit, see, that's really dramatic. So we can take this reflector and we can fill in a little bit, get the reflector out of the shot. But you can see how C-stands would be really useful for just kind of holding these reflectors and different things, right? So there we fill in that little, the side of his face that's not lit with the reflector, or we can use, you know, a fill light too. We could do that as well. Split lighting. Okay. Split lighting is like this. Where we got the face, we've got only one side of the face lit up. And I think this is that's split lighting. Now this is really fun to do something like this. If you're going to use this split lighting where you're only lighting one side of the face, something you can do is you can go over to the background and you can light the background on the other side of the face, you see? And this is called checkerboard. Yeah, and get some color back there, right? So we got darkness on the, you know, the right side of the picture, or the background's dark on the right side, but his face is lit up on that side, and the background is lit on the other side where he's in darkness, okay? Sorry, I'm in the way of your camera shot. Here we go. So that's checkerboard lighting with the split lighting. And then we've got, cross lighting. That's a fun one. Well, then there's also silhouette lighting where you kind of just like have the person in darkness and you got all the background lit up like this, right? That person's in silhouette. You could do something like that. And if you're going to do something like that, it might be a good idea to turn on your backlight, get a little bit of get a little bit of definition there. You can see that. We've got silhouette lighting, right? Okay, let's go over cross lighting. Here's how we do that. Cross lighting is fun. Do I have a volunteer from the audience to help me demonstrate cross lighting? You want to come up here, Ben? Just sit on that stool. Well, let's get you closer. Sit right here in this stool.
Facing or?
Yeah, facing Alejandro. Yeah. And can we see him on camera one, or do we need to move? Okay, we need to move you to the right a little bit. There we go. Okay. So we're going to do something like this. We're going to give Ben a backlight. Alejandro's already got a backlight. And Ben's backlight is going to light Alejandro's face. Like so. And then, of course, I need my apple box. And this light is going to make sure we get both of them. There we go. So this is where you can have, maybe you got two cameras, okay? You got a camera here and you got the camera over there and you're switching between them. But you've got two lights lighting two people and they're both kind of, you know, one of them's the backlight and the key light for the other person. So that's cross lighting, okay? There we go. Thank you, gentlemen. Well, Alejandro, you're still in the hot seat. Sorry, Ben. All right. Well, that's all of the different types of lighting scenarios I was going to go over. Do y'all have questions about those? No? So, I want to just talk about the upcoming second Saturdays. We've got October 8th, Adobe After Effects with guest instructor Brendan Thompson. And on November 12th, we've got Music Business 101 with guest instructor Tyrone Bradley. So be sure and put those on your calendar and come to our second Saturday workshops. Thank you, everybody.